Welcome to another episode of the System Unfiltered. I'm Stephen Lee. I'm your host. Welcome. Today we're going to talk about NYPD Detective took bribes to help robbers target Asian Americans avoid arrests. Mm, yeah, so I'm going to try to stay unbiased about this. So this is about a NYPD detective who basically helped uh, a ring of robbers that were targeting Asian American business owners, following them home from the business, following them home from the bank, and doing home invasions and robbing them. So let's read. This is from June 8th in your posts. I know a lot of people have been posting this, but you know what? I felt like I should do it. I didn't want to do it at first, but let's see what happens. All right, so an NYPD detective took bribes from a robbery crew who targeted Asian Americans for their deaths in order to help them avoid getting arrested. Federal prosecutors alleged Thursday. These are the feds that arrested these people, not NYPD, not NYPD Internal Affairs. These are the feds. Um, this guy came up before. I'm not sure if it's for the same thing, but I saw his name floating around somewhere before for something. It might have been for this. I'm not too sure. He might have been jammed up since 2022 since this. So yeah. So NYPD officer and later as a detective allegedly helped ringleader and his four-man crew evade arrests in exchange for bribes from 2017 to 2022, according to a White Plains federal indictment. So I went undercover and I arrested a corrupt police officer that was taking bribes, basically almost doing the same thing, but it was a little more organized. And they targeted Asians also because they were Asian, and the precinct is mostly Asian. So I believe I put in my civil suit in 2017 trying to expose that they were a wider ring of corruption, but you know, they covered it up. So I hate to say it, right? Told you so. So anyway, who went by Alias, including Pito, Felix Correa, and Jacob Guzman, pulled together a group that carried out scores of home robberies, that's home invasions, in New York and throughout the country, according to the charging document. So I think that's why the feds got involved, because it crossed state lines. Um, Once it crossed state lines, it's basically FBI. The men armed with guns and other weapons stole money, jewelry, and other property from their marks, the majority of whom were Asian American, small business owners, the court papers claim. They chose their targets, including by stalking victims, conducting internet research, and compensating tipsters, the indictment alleges. So, meaning, you know, they had people in the street like give up names and give up addresses and so forth and so on. Like, yo, you know, this guy, he owns this place, whatever it's cash, money, whatever, stuff like that. De La Cruz, who went by the nicknames Nini and Venom in the Death Gang, had a $143,000 salary in 2022 as a field intelligence officer assigned to the 100 precinct in Queens, according to public records. He was, however, suspended without pay that November amid a federal probe over an off-duty shooting he was allegedly involved in. Ah, that's where I read it from. Okay, so this guy, I think he was buying a used car or something. His friend was buying a used car or something like that, and then he said that he was getting robbed, and then he took out his firearm and defended himself, quote unquote, defended himself. Um, I think I heard rumors that it was like a drug deal gone bad or something like that, and he was there trying to protect his friend who was in the mix of the drug deal and stuff like that, and you know, yeah. So, um, but $143,000 salary, that's pretty basic, I think. That's some overtime. Field intelligence officer in the precinct is the short term is FIO. The FIO is basically they do basically what this says, field intelligence. So it's like they know who the gang members are in the neighborhood, who the repeat offenders are, and the major players in the precinct. It's basically precinct based. Um, So yeah, De La Cruz retired in 2022, according to the NYPD. Wow. So retired. I guess that means they left him vest out because he was vested. Um, that means he's going to keep his pension. So yeah, I mean, system unfiltered. So I'm not going to hold a opinion on it, but um, it's just crazy that he gets to keep his pension. Um, I was retired against it, and I lost my pension. I was fired. I was terminated, so I didn't get to keep my pension. But they allow him to vest out. Wow, that's crazy. They have to allow you to retire. If you're under the requirement time, they have to allow you to retire. And this guy doesn't look like he has the time over 20 years to retire. So, yeah. The now former officer and co-defendants Edwin Luciano Rodriguez Genoa and Santiago Javier Maldonado and Diego Muelas Gonzalez were all arraigned before White Plains Magistrate Judge McCarthy Thursday. Soto Ramirez, the Bronx, was still at large. One is still outstanding. Okay. All five men are charged with racketeering, conspiracy, and face up to 20 years behind bars if convicted. They got a lot of pictures of this guy hanging out, huh? So probably got it off of social media. Um, yeah, that's Thurman Shea. He was police commissioner for a little bit, and that's him, I guess, getting promoted to detective. Um, Soto Ramirez is also charged with assault with a dangerous weapon in aid of racketeering, brandishing a firearm, and he faces up to life in prison if convicted on the top count. This crew stole substantial quantities of cash and valuables from dozens of families in New York and across the country, predominantly targeting Asian Americans, small business owners. U.S. Attorney Damian Williams said in a statement, and as alleged, they bribed an NYPD detective in an attempt to get away with it. Police Commissioner Keishan Suo added, there will always be zero tolerance in NYPD for corruption of any kind, and our investigators, in close partnership with all of our local, state, and federal law enforcement partners, will continue to ensure that it is punished to the full extent possible. In a statement, De La Cruz's lawyer said his client maintained his innocence. Sol de la Cruz is a highly decorated former detective with the NYPD who served honorably for over 8 years. He voluntarily left the department last December, Attorney Howard Tanner told the Post. Sol maintains his innocence, and I look forward to vigorously defending him in this case. Maldonado's lawyer, Joseph Caballero, said, every individual, no matter their circumstances, deserves a fair trial and a strong defense, and I am honored to be able to provide that for my client. Lawyers for Rodriguez Genoa and Muelas Gonzalez didn't immediately return requests for comment Thursday. It was unclear if Soto Ramirez has an attorney. All right. So, um, now that we read that, let me say something about this. Hold on. Let me get rid of that. Boom. So, the reason why I feel like I had to do something, a podcast on it, was because they were targeting Asian Americans. Why did they target Asian Americans? It's probably because Asian Americans, especially business owners and everything else, they like to keep cash in the house. Um, there's a distrust with the banks, with Asian communities, and they like to keep cash. So um, I think you should just keep it in the bank. much more safer than your house and underneath your mattress or in a safe in your house. I seen actually a case before where the whole safe was stolen. It was a big safe, huge safe, and the whole safe was stolen. So even though it was in a safe, it's still not safe. But them targeting Asian Americans specifically, it's sad to see that happen, and it's disturbing. Um, we're also targeted because we like to keep our head low, and we don't like to cause troubles for anybody and stuff like that, and least likely to make a report. Um, it's very troubling. We need to really start speaking out and making reports and taking part of uh, community events and uh, participating more in politics. If you want to stay safe, I would say, get involved in politics. Go out, which means just going out, vote, um, learning about your candidates, uh, who's running for what office and who's representing your district or area, and just get aware of things. Speak out on issues that you do not agree with. Um, Speak out on issues that you think should be implemented. If you have ideas, just pass it on or post it somewhere, or call up your local politician and just suggest it to them. Why this will help? Because people in politics tend to follow their voters, their voter base, because they want to stay in office, they want to stay in power, and they know that which group of people demographics vote and which don't. And all this is logged on, like there's statistics everywhere, the surveys and stuff like that, and they know exactly which communities vote. And unfortunately, the Chinese community doesn't really vote that much. Just recently, we've been active. I believe Andrew Yang brought a lot of attention to Asian voters. Um, but yeah, even COVID has brought in, activated some people from the pandemic and all the violence that's been happening since COVID, the riots and everything like that, the attacks on Asian communities, and the concerns of public safety and everything. Like that has activated a lot of people in the Asian community. But we still don't have enough votes. We need more unity. We need more people to come together, and we need to actually start talking and conversing with other cultures, other like communities, other black and brown, Jewish, other communities. We need to really start networking and coming together. And I think that's the only way we could really solve um, our issues and concerns. Okay, so as a police officer, this guy doing all this stuff, I'm not surprised. When I heard about him in the newspaper before, I already knew this guy was bad news. And for him to resign, I think he foresee that this was going to happen and stuff like that. And it was more like a safety measure because then he gets to keep his pension instead of him getting terminated and losing his pension, which was kind of surprising because usually the department would nip it in the butt and terminate him before he does that. But who knows? I don't know why they let him retire. That's just crazy. But yeah, so my thoughts that this guy should have been terminated. He shouldn't be able to keep his pension. Um, there's still a lot of this kind of stuff going on, and they just need to solve it. They need to want to solve it, and it's not going to stop until they do, until they do decide that when would they decide that? I don't know. I don't know. I guess they all have their plan, right? But yes, this is the System Unfiltered, and I just wanted to bring this to your attention. Leave comments and let me know what you think about this situation. You know, them targeting Asian Americans and stuff. It's sad. It's pretty sad. And I just hope I could bring some awareness to the tax that our Asian community is going through. All right, thank you. Peace.